Before I start, I'd like to send a quick thank you to my students. I actually made them do a version of Ignite for one of their final presentations. I'm a program coordinator and professor at Michigan State in our educational technology program. And as all good students should do, they questioned me and said, "Have you ever done an Ignite presentation?" And I said, "No, but if the chance ever came up, I would do it," and I did, and I thank you for wanting to hear what I have to say. So hopefully my students will be impressed. So in thinking about food photography, you can go ahead, Nick, I was trying to trace back where it all started, and I think it started when I read The Soul of a Chef by Michael Ruhlman in 2001. And it's a wonderful story about cooking and not just cooking, but perfection and the quest for perfection, which made me want to eat at one of the restaurants he mentioned in his book called The French Laundry. And because I love taking pictures, I happened to have my camera with me. And I took my camera with me because I wanted to capture what perfection looked like. What does it look like to experience perfection, and what does it feel like? So this has become a side hobby of mine, to take my camera along with me when I'm venturing into these amazing restaurants and experiencing these meals. But eating, much like teaching, is a very personal experience. It doesn't always happen in fancy and formal context, and it doesn't have to do that in order to be good. The next one, if anyone knows where the picture came from, you can shout it out. Anyone recognize? Oasis Taco Stand, absolutely. They're not trying to please the masses here. They're just doing food really, really, really well. And it makes me want to capture and take a picture of it. So what does quality actually look like? How do we define it? How does it feel? This was the best hot chocolate I've ever had in my entire life, not just because of the way it tasted, but look at the presentation and everything associated with the experience. How do I get my students to come back for more like this? This is treacle pudding. It's become a holy grail of sorts for me when I go to the United Kingdom, and it's the best thing I've ever had in my entire life. And I want my students to have that same sort of feeling as they're in my classes. So the camera is my tool, my educational technology that connects me to others and helps me learn new things and meet new people. I use my camera to document this learning process, whether it's something I make myself, like these purple sweet potatoes I got in Hawaii when I was visiting my sister. Doesn't necessarily look good, but I'm documenting the process anyways. Or something that I experience, coffee. Everyone loves coffee, right? And there is quite a wide variety of the way coffee tastes when you go around the world. This is the best iced latte I've ever had in my entire life. And I took a picture so I could remember it and tease out the factors that contributed to this being the best coffee. Teaching and taking pictures is also about making the familiar strange. These are eggs, but if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little feather, and sometimes that would gross people out. So it's taking a look at things and that you take for granted. And it's also about anticipation. This is asparagus from the farm down my street. And every May I call the asparagus hotline in anticipation of the day that the stand is going to open. So how can I do that with my own students? How can I make them want to log into my class? Learning, like growing food, is a process. There's a continual cycle of remixing and experimenting to create things, and this process is an outlet for me to work through these ideas and to be inspired by others and to take people in with me in that. So back to the inspiration piece, Thomas Keller, who I mentioned at the beginning at the French Laundry, inspired me to make something, these little cherry tomato burgers with balsamic glaze and a basil top. So how can I inspire others to do the same in my profession? And fear is something that comes in to play quite a bit in my teaching, because I teach teachers that are afraid sometimes to use technology. And I stepped out of my comfort zone this summer by making jam with red currants and berries from the MSU student farm, and I was rewarded with this excellent jam. Now, there's failures along the way as well, and you have to document and learn from those too. And I'm not afraid to share those failures with others. Amazing things happen when you share. Just look around the room. One thing is this picture For some reason, it's the #1 picture on my Flickr feed. Why do people care about pumpkins, bacon, and pasta? What can I gather from this? I'm not sure yet. Other things can happen, like your picture being picked up by the New York Times Freakonomics blog for some reason. They liked this picture, and it's pretty exciting, but it's also something that I love, salami and bread. Pretty easy. And it creates bonds, and experts who also care about things like this are more than willing to share their passion and their happiness and excitement along with you. Like this chef, Michelin's 3-star chef, who welcomed me with open arms back in his kitchen to show me the process, which is probably one of the most exciting experiences I've ever had in my life. So this is the experience I'm striving to create for my students, and food photography is the vehicle I use to get there.